It is the third model of the Cyberkitty Kuro-Chan collaboration and the first of the 2023 rerun of the collaboration. It is CKC02 Tortorillo, with a kit of Power Hammer, Disaster, Hide Blow, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Bloodstain, which buffs base power of all equipped parts when attacking a target and breaking something on your turn. Now, as yet another installment of the Cyberkitty Kuro-Chan collab models, it looks like they're certainly picking up right where they left off in terms of how nasty these Cyberkitties can be, or just what kind of powerful skills they can bring to the table. Tortorillo here is certainly no exception to this role, and definitely very imposing with that chainsaw built in on the right arm. Power Hammer is a melee-based skill that is a full AoE with a damage plus condition. It will deal an additional times 1.5 damage bonus as long as Tortorillo's legs remain intact. And compared to most other AoE skills, Power Hammer is definitely more desirable for this very reason, because as an AoE, it will spread the damage equally across all active parts of the target. So a fully healthy target, a quarter damage to each. An injured target, it will spread load the damage to a third, 50-50, or whatever. The only exception, of course, is if the enemy has Conceal applied, of which Power Hammer no longer is an AoE, and will instead focus all its damage on the one part that will be receiving it. Disaster is a relatively new skill we've only seen once before with the EVA collab that ended back in January, but it is a powerful skill that's kind of a different take on Destroy to a point, where if you can catch a foe in a certain phase, or if you intercept them with a shield, it will instantly break it. Otherwise, it will deal a relatively normal amount of damage, and basically is a more user-friendly version of Destroy, which is largely more of a gambling skill compared to, say, Disaster, or even the other version of this one, which is Terminate. Left arm of Hide Blow is another conventional melee skill that upon attacking the target will also grant a stack of Conceal to self. So this means that while Conceal is applied, your evade will go up significantly, and it will also negate pierce damage or AoE damage for that one hit, making it a little harder to actually hit this one or cripple this particular model as long as that effect stays inactive. In addition, the Bloodstain leg ability does mean that its already decent base power will be just a little bit higher than normal, especially as it starts breaking things on the enemy side. So the more parts that it breaks, the more dangerous this Cyberkitty can get. Its stats across the board, though, are nominally healthy too in terms of what you'd expect of a norm, especially for a collaboration model. Armor's pretty nice too, at about 3,700 for the head, about 3,050 for the right arm, just shy of 3,000 for the left, and legs at about 3,500. Base power doesn't look too imposing, except for Power Hammer at almost 1,800, but that's also because both Disaster and Hide Blow do have a little bit of a damage condition to them, which can make them either more dangerous or a little more rounded based on how you choose to use them. Leg stats are honestly kind of nice too, in that nice little sweet spot. Mobility at about 784 is kind of an upper middle tier of where biped legs really want to be if they want to keep a good speed without being outrun too easily. A melee resist of 1208 is very nice though, as this means Tortorillo can hold his own very well up close and personal, and not that anyone would want to get up close and personal with a chainsaw, but I digress. But a shoot resist of 784 is definitely a little bit of a pain spot for him though, as this means he will be taking a noticeable amount of higher damage from shooting skills in contrast to being up close and personal. An evade of 1071 isn't too shabby though, as this means he will have a relatively decent time dodging or grazing a lot of incoming attacks or even low success attacks. That being said, as a pure set score and for a very solid all-rounded model for a melee orientation, I would honestly have to give this model a very solid 7 out of 10. Not a lot of skills that contradict each other or may hinder one another once they're applied. Moderately good synergy across the board too with the parts, and a very wide array of skills it can make use of to keep itself healthy with, say, with Hide Blow, or even serve itself as a shield buster with Disaster, or just your regular Power Hammer if you choose to use it. As mixed parts, I do have to rate him just a little bit higher at a 7.5 out of 10. Even though the synergy is very evident and very solid between all three parts as well, and even the legs too, can be made very useful, even on independent builds away from Tortorillo. Power Hammer, I really can't say much more than the fact that it's a more consistent AoE type of attack. Disaster is a very good opportunity for anyone that, say, missed out on it from the EVA collab. And High Blow, of course, is also a good conventional melee skill you can't go wrong with an added bonus on top of it.